People around the country are still reacting after that presidential debate this week, why some Democrats are now calling for President Biden to drop out of the race. Plus, troopers are sounding the alarm tonight as they investigate counterfeit bills making their way around West Michigan, how criminals are using the fake cash. And you could soon have to pay more to park around downtown Kalamazoo. We have reaction from residents.
Covering West Michigan to protect and alert you. This is News Channel 3, live at 11.
Well, thanks for joining us for News Channel 3, live at 11. I'm Princess Janae Steverson. We start tonight with a live look over downtown Kalamazoo this Saturday, a humid and warm day around West Michigan, but it's about to feel a bit cooler outside, thankfully. Meteorologist Jeff Porter is in the Weather Alert Center with a look at your forecast. Jeff?
Princess, good Saturday night. Yeah, no humidity by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, which will be a welcome sight. And the site right now, well, it is out over downtown Holland. I want to give you a live look here. On a late Saturday night, it is still a sultry 75 degrees. Tomorrow is a rip current day at the lakeshore. Northwesterly winds, 30 miles per hour. Waves between 4 and 7 feet. Those dangerous currents most likely on the north side of piers. We want you off the piers and out of the waters of Lake Michigan. Hourly gusts, I think, are underdoing our potential here. 25 to about 30 miles per hour. Here's a quick snapshot of gusts throughout the day tomorrow. And well, here's your much cooler Sunday. It was 87 earlier today. We're going to start your Sunday with 57 at 7 and recover to about 70 by the time we get you into the afternoon. Sun and cumulus in the morning. Primarily mostly sunny in the afternoon. A couple of downpours we're following for you on this late Saturday night. This is lower Ionia County. Head into the Willowwood Golf Course, 1107. Frost Corners at 1109. This is a brontosaurus of a cell here. Does have a history of maybe some small hail coming out of Branch County. This squarely now into Hillsdale County. All right, Kalamazoo, you're at 77. West wind, 7 miles per hour. That's a dry westerly wind. Temperatures around West Michigan. We have 71 in Hastings, 74 in the Cereal City. Tomorrow morning, how about this? Middle and upper 50s. Boy, we love that. How cold will be Monday morning and when it will storm next week. Princess will walk you through that in a moment.
President Joe Biden on the trail is conceding he had a poor debate performance this week, failing to fact-check many of former President Donald Trump's falsehoods during the debate. As Christian Benavidez reports, his performance left many Democrats rattled, with some calling for him to drop out of the race.
I know I'm not a young man.
President Joe Biden is in damage control after his poor debate performance this week, where his stumbles.
I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence.
Have alarmed Democrats and raised questions with some voters about his future.
I was rooting for President Biden. I just don't think he did what we needed him to do.
Despite that, Biden remains defiant. At a rally in North Carolina, he told supporters he won't drop out of the race.
I know how to do this job. I know how to get things done. And I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up.
For his part, former President Trump took a victory lap.
Despite the fact that crooked Joe Biden spent the entire week at Camp David resting, working, studying. He studied very hard. He studied so hard that he didn't know what the hell he was doing. I'm the one that got the insulin down.
Trump repeatedly made false claims and did not commit to accepting the results of the upcoming November election during the debate. Yet that was overshadowed by Biden's struggle to counter Trump's dishonesty. The Biden team insists there are no conversations at the White House or at the campaign about him bowing out. Christian Benavidez, CBS News.
The New York Times editorial board is calling for President Biden to drop out in a scathing headline writing, "To serve his country, President Biden should leave the race." A 22-year-old man from Guatemala has been charged with assault with intent to murder after a stabbing in Van Buren County. Deputies were called to the 29,000 block of M43 in Almena Township for an assault. Deputies say there were reports of a fight between the man and a 21-year-old who was stabbed in the chest. Deputies arrested the suspect. Investigators say the two men lived together and had been drinking. We're told there was an argument, and when deputies say the suspect stabbed the victim, the man who was stabbed was taken to the hospital and is expected to recover. A man is dead and another is recovering after a shooting early this morning in Grand Rapids. It happened around 12:20 near Ardmore Street Southeast and Thelma Avenue Southeast. Officers with GRPD were called on for reports of shots being fired, and officials say they found evidence of gunshots but didn't find any victims. Later, investigators said a man showed up at a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Then around 3 this morning, another man showed up at the hospital and later died. Anyone with any information is asked to call GRPD or Silent Observer. Michigan State troopers are investigating tonight after finding a string of counterfeit bills being passed around West Michigan businesses in the last month. Troopers say suspects are entering stores and giving fake cash and getting money back on an online card. Police got surveillance footage of one of the suspects you see right there, but believe a crew of people are involved. Troopers are asking folks to keep a close eye on any cash they get and to contact them if they have any information. The Supreme Court issued a series of 6-3 rulings on Friday on cases impacting January 6 rioters, the homeless crisis, and government regulations. But Monday is expected to be an even bigger day for court, with an expected ruling on former President Donald Trump's claim of absolute immunity. Rob Kirkpatrick has more.
The Supreme Court overturned a 40-year precedent in Chevron versus the Natural Resources Defense Council that could have sweeping implications for the environment, public health, and the workplace.
This is something that has been in the crosshairs of conservative jurists for a long time. And there's been no secret of the fact that when it comes to certain decisions, and this is one of the big ones called Chevron deference, that this is something that conservative jurists have said it's inappropriate that we defer this much to executive agencies.
The decision is expected to affect a wide array of federal regulations and hands an important victory to conservatives who have sought for years to rein in what they call, quote, the administrative state. In another ruling, the Supreme Court said cities can ticket people experiencing homelessness for sleeping outside. City and state leaders watched the decision closely as surging homeless encampments cropped up across the nation.
As a result of this decision, we are able to enforce the law and to clear the encampments off the street now.
Another Friday ruling said the DOJ overstepped by pursuing obstruction charges against January 6th rioters. That decision could have implications for former President Donald Trump, who is facing charges related to that event and claims he should have absolute immunity as president.
This ruling is not the end of these charges for the former president.
That ruling is expected Monday as the Supreme Court wraps up its 2024 session. I'm Rob Kirkpatrick reporting.
Well, you could soon be paying more to park around Kalamazoo. On Monday, the city plans to hear the first reading to amend the city parking rates and put meters on the Burdick Mall. It would cost around $2 an hour to park. Residents in town say it's going to make things harder to get around.
It's kind of ridiculous. It's already hard enough to come downtown and try to find a parking spot, let alone to, just to have to combat with the increase in the change with the parking. Just $2 an hour is just kind of ridiculous, especially going from 90 minutes free.
Sometimes we have to make deliveries on this road, and it's just hard to park. And then if we have to do anything, pay anything, it's going to be even harder.
The city will discuss this topic on Monday. We'll pass along any updates from the meeting on air and online at WWMT.com. A new facility in West Michigan aims to help people recovering from substance abuse. Today was the open house for the new inpatient substance abuse facility for wellness and recovery in Battle Creek. The facility says it's working to provide care and evidence-based treatment to everyone suffering from addiction, and to not make the facility feel like a medical building, but instead another home.
We do have a schedule from 9 to 4 of programming, smart recovery, relapse prevention, communications, teaching them about healthy emotions, but also life skills that we forget while we're using substances. So also the fun part of that is we got equine therapy, and we have fishing, and we have basketball, and we also want to do the fun things sober.
The facility is set to house 16 patients for a 30-day inpatient program. Several teams from Midwest are in Portage this weekend for America's Pastime. Today was the second annual Portage Vintage Baseball Festival at Ramona Park. The event featured 14 vintage baseball clubs playing baseball as it was played back in the 1860s. Organizers say it's fun to look back on where one of the most popular sports in the country started more than 150 years ago.
In the early 1860s, it was a gentleman's game. It got a little bit more competitive as you kind of look back through history throughout the 1860s. But here today, you might have one or two umpires show up, right, who are in period-appropriate clothing. But yeah, here today is a festival where no one's winning a trophy. No one's here to claim that they won, all 3 games. It's to demonstrate the game, really have a good time, show off the early history of baseball to whoever shows up from the community, meet some new people, potentially, and just have a great time playing baseball.
Today's event featured teams from Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and of course, West Michigan. We're almost to the end of Pride Month, but for people in South Haven, they're celebrating tonight. Today was the city's first Pride in the Park event. The event aims to celebrate the LGBTQ community as well as inclusivity, diversity, and acceptance, and it features a long list of activities and food options. Organizers say they're proud of how South Haven has embraced and supported people across the community and helped to put this event together.
Cannot give enough thanks to Chief Thompson, Mayor Brown, and all the community members that stood up. There was a lot of businesses who were kind of iffy, which I understand it being the first year. But like I said, the donations just from the private individuals really came through and put this together.
Today's event ended with a drag show performance. People in New York are voicing their frustrations tonight after a teenager is shot and killed by a police officer. The newest details, we're just getting on this investigation. Plus, help is on the way for people in Minnesota affected by recent floods, how the federal government is now stepping in.
Princess, thank you very much. 90s in your 7-day forecast. We're going to tell you when. And what are our storm chances on the 4th of July? It is great to have you alongside. You're watching News Channel 3.
Thank you for turning to News Channel 3 at 11. The news continues right now.
Welcome back to News Channel 3 live at 11. Tonight, authorities are investigating the police shooting of a 13-year-old boy. It happened Friday night, and when police called a press conference today, they were interrupted by a shouting crowd. There's a video of the shooting, and we want to warn viewers it is disturbing. Michael George has more.
This video shows a 13-year-old boy being chased by Utica police officers. Horrified neighbors watch as an officer throws him to the ground. Then...
Oh my God! Yo, he just shot him!
The teenager, an Asian male, later died at the hospital. Residents packed City Hall demanding answers. At a news conference, Utica's police chief says officers stopped the 13-year-old and another male Friday night as part of a criminal investigation, but didn't offer additional details. As the chief described what happened next, he was interrupted by outraged members of the community.
While fleeing, the youth displayed what appeared to be a handgun. Can you please allow me to finish, please? Okay?
Utica's mayor took the microphone, calling for calm.
And we understand the weight of the situation, and we want to ensure that every single piece of this is understood.
Police say what officers thought was a handgun turned out to be a pellet gun, resembling a Glock 17.
I want to offer my heartfelt condolences to the family of the deceased party during this difficult time.
Meanwhile, the community is reeling and waiting for answers.
Right now, the community is looking for justice for the young man.
And the officers involved are on paid leave pending an investigation. A vigil will be held for the 13-year-old late Saturday. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Tonight, the White House is calling on Congress to provide $4 billion in emergency money to rebuild Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge and address other disasters. A cargo ship struck the bridge in late March, killing 6 workers and leading to its collapse. Shortly after the incident, President Biden said the federal government would fully foot the bill to rebuild the bridge. The funding would also address wildfire, tornado, and hurricane recovery needs. The Biden administration is pausing some of its student loan collections. The Education Department says it will suspend payments and interest charges for about 3 million borrowers. The announcement comes as key parts of Biden's administration's repayment plans are being halted by federal judges. The loan repayment plan, known as SAVE, has more than 8 million people signed up. The program lowers borrowers' monthly payments by tying payment amounts to earnings and family size. This latest decision affects some enrollees and will place their loans in forbearance. The National Hurricane Center is now tracking Hurricane Beryl east of the Caribbean. Beryl is the second named storm of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season, but now the first hurricane currently at Category 1 strength. The storm is quickly approaching Barbados and is expected to bring life-threatening storm surges and dangerous rip currents to the Caribbean. Officials there have issued a hurricane warning for the island, while a hurricane watch is in effect for others nearby. Meanwhile, federal help is on the way for Minnesotans affected by recent floods. Today, FEMA approved a disaster declaration for 22 counties. Torrential rains over the past week caused rivers across the state to rise to dangerous levels, one even causing a dam to overflow. Parts of Minneapolis and St. Paul are under a state of emergency due to flooding from the Mississippi River, which has already engulfed several streets and a popular park. Damage assessments are still underway, and FEMA is currently reviewing 20 other counties for federal assistance.
Princess, thank you very much. I want to start you off here at the Mighty Mac on a late Saturday night, and in the water it's 62, in the air it's 54. You might be crossing the Mighty Mac during your holiday week or maybe on the 4th of July. The view is a good one right now. And in Grand Haven, it's 74 in the air and 69 in the water. We've got your lakeshore weather in just a moment for tomorrow. We always love it when you download our Weather Alert Network app. You can scan this QR code with the camera on your phone or type WWMT Weather in your app store. Thank you for downloading our Weather Alert Network app. T.R. Shaw Jr. spending his Saturday night Gull Lake. What a view here. And what a beautiful sunset. He emailed me a couple of photos. So, TR, thank you very much. And have a good Sunday. All right, Princess was talking about Beryl moments ago. Top winds, 85 miles per hour. Category 1 storm. Should be a Category 3 major hurricane, maybe as soon as tomorrow. Of course, that is of concern as it moves towards the Windward Islands. Right now, the forecast is for a storm surge of 7 feet. That's as tall as the first floor of your house, just to give you a sense. And rainfall upwards of about 6 inches. Locally on our piers, worried about rip currents tomorrow and want you out of the waters of Lake Michigan. Now, it is going to be much, much cooler tomorrow, so maybe you're not inclined to get in the waters of Lake Michigan, but we really want you out here because of the development of rip currents. It's going to be on the north side of piers, 4 to 7 footers. We still have a couple of these few and far between heavy downpours. This now in the Clinton County area, coming out of Ionia County, our friends South Riley over to DeWitt, playing on some brief heavy rain through about 11:37. What's interesting about this cell, it has split in the northwestern portion of it, now moving towards the Jackson area, so angling here northward, and again, brief heavy rain, occasionally some lightning. That's about it. Humidity, I don't want to see you for a while, so see you later. I'm officially going to say that for everyone. Your comfort index, squarely as comfortable tomorrow and Monday and much of Tuesday. And then late in the day on Tuesday night, that humidity going to ramp up again. End of the day tomorrow, we are on either side of a rather refreshing 70 degrees. We're going to call this room temperature weather for the final day of June. This is the kind of stuff we see in the first half of May, believe it or not. Monday morning, well, back to work potentially for you. You might be off, but if you're not, this is jacket weather, middle and upper 40s. We quickly put that in the rearview mirror, and we introduced just an absolutely outstanding Monday afternoon. If you've got Monday afternoon golf league, look, I am right there with you. Middle and maybe some upper 70s. Let's talk about the 4th of July, and here's what we are projecting for you right now. If you're south of I-94, we've got a 30% chance for some thunderstorms. You got the big-time heat on Wednesday with 90, but a little bit better, 85 on Thursday. And yes, it's still going to be humid, but not quite like Wednesday's humidity. As far as your fireworks forecast temperature, as it stands right now, we'll refine this for you all week long. 80 degrees at 8, 74 at 10. Most displays get going at 10 or a little bit after as we wait for the final thoughts on sunset. Well, how about our final thoughts here on your Celiata Group 7-day forecast? Here we go. Of course, it's going to be wonderful tomorrow, comfortable to get rid of the humidity. That 76 on Monday is stellar. Perhaps a few storms not till the very end of the day on Tuesday. So really, Princess, we've got about a 3-day stretch here where it's much more comfortable. We can save some money. We could turn off some AC. I mean, this is a good list.
Yeah, I like that for sure. You know, I was out earlier today. I got my little wristband. I went to the Kalamazoo Caribbean Fest.
Right.
And it was hot and humid out there.
It was.
So I definitely had to rush back, you know, straighten my hair because it frizzed up a little bit. So I'm glad to know that it's going to get a little cooler.
And you got some good eats also.
I did. I met some of the sweetest viewers. We sat down under a tent. We had some good Caribbean food and drinks. And then I came back here to be with Jeff.
Well, we need you here.
Yes, that too. You know, I mean, we could swap. I can't do your job.
No one wants that. No one wants that.
Well, I'll tell you what we do want upcoming in sports. Down days for the Growlers and Battle Jacks as they look to turn their fortunes around in Northwoods League.
Well, the dog days of summer, they seem to be fast approaching for Northwoods League teams that call Southwest Michigan home. The league, it's a grind as you're looking at maybe 5 off days throughout the entire season that don't involve the All-Star break, and that grind can be taxing. Growlers looking to get out of that funk and out of that grind. They're coming off of 3 straight losses heading into this one. Great opportunity in the first. Corbin Griffin with the bases juiced. He's going to get this one out to right field deep enough to score. Miles Beal on the sac fly. Kazoo finding themselves with an early 2-0 lead. Trouble in the second, sporting a 5-3 lead. This pitch served up to Maddox Milahalkis. It's not coming back. Blasted over the wall in right center. 3-run shot going to give the Rivets the lead. Next inning, a familiar-looking result. Another 3-run shot for Rockford to add to their advantage. This one, a barn burner. Rivets take it 20-10, your final. As for the Battle Jacks, hoping to earn a win for the Southwest Michigan crew up in TC. Bottom first, the Spitters with home field advantage. Bloop single by Aaron Piasecki. That's going to play to run and gets Traverse City on the board first. The very next batter, arguably the same result. Opposite field bloop single for Von Lackey. As TC going to extend their lead. They were up 2-0 after the first frame. Into the third, Aiden Arbogast sending it for a ride. I'll give you a guess what it was. Another opposite field hit, but this one going over the wall. 2-run dinger gives BC the lead, but it wouldn't last as they fall 5-4. Out in LA, the Tigers actually putting up some runs. Detroit coming away with wins the last 4 times that they've scored 3 or more runs in a game. Of course, it's taken them 14 games to accomplish that feat, so hopefully this anemic offense can keep on rolling as they play on in the 5th. Rain, go away. We've got another round of the Rocket Mortgage Classic to play. You can keep the Ducks, though. Akshay Bhatia picking up where he's left off. A birdie on 4 moves him to 15 under. The pros looking good. How about the amateur? Luke Clanton with the birdie here on 17. He sits at 14 under, tied for 7th, heading into the final day. But the 2 at the top, trading blows like prize fighters. Bhatia and Aaron Rye coming away with birdies on 17 to keep it close. They're tied at 17 under with just 1 round to go. And U.S. track and field qualifiers for the Olympics being held this week. And Portage native Andrew Evans, he's going to be headed to Paris. The discus thrower reaching 66.61 meters to finish as the United States' top qualifier in the event for the 2024 Summer Games. This is the second time Evans has reached the Games, as he also qualified back in 2016. Congratulations to Andrew. And we're going to have a final check on your forecast when we return.
The cover art for the first edition of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone just sold for nearly $2 million. The watercolor painting was auctioned for $1.92 million. That price tag makes it the most expensive item related to the series. The rare book jacket was painted in 1996 after the publisher hired a 23-year-old recent art school graduate from England.
You say that's out of your price range?
Very much so.
Mine also. And I think for 99% of the population, right?
Yeah, us.
Princess, Sealy Auto Group 7-day forecast. Much better feeling air going to be in play as soon as you wake up tomorrow morning, and maybe not even 70 degrees by the afternoon. It will be breezy. We've got rip currents at the lakeshore. Cold Sunday night, beautiful on Monday. We don't want to rush the rest of the weekend, though.
Agree, but we'll see you all same time tomorrow. Have a great night.